hello, and welcome to the last episode of Keep It Moving podcast for 2017.
Is that what you normally say? Woo-hoo, whatever you say.
The year's almost up.
It is.
You happy about it?
I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about 2017, but you are Novelty, and I am Mike B. You got to give me an opportunity to say about what it do. I think you were trying to hate on me.
Hello, my name is Novelty, and here with me today, as usual, is Mike B.
What it do?
Yabba dabba do to you too.
But honestly, I don't know. Like 2017 just feels like a blur. And like I guess the older I get, each year kind of feels like a blur. Like you're not really doing anything. You're remaining stagnant. You need to get up and get out and get into something. And I just haven't.
They say there is a scientific reason for that. It's something about the chemicals in your brain and how your brain functions as you get older. Time seems to go by faster.
Oh, so I might be bipolar?
No, this is everybody.
Oh, we might be bipolar?
We all might be bipolar, I guess. But anyway, I don't know. 2017 wasn't that bad. You know, I lost a few loved ones, but they were up in age, so it was expected.
It was like natural causes.
Right.
Like, okay.
And, you know, nothing horrendous happened. I didn't lose my house. Didn't gain a house either, but, you know, it could have been much worse. So I don't really have a problem with 2017.
So you're saying you're still blessed?
Yeah, there it is, right there.
On.
Came in the year blessed, still stayed blessed throughout the year, and hopefully we can do the same for 2018.
Right on. 2018 has to be better. I ain't gonna do the new year, new me, but you know, I got to do something different. I got to step it up a little bit because I've definitely been laxed in almost everything, every aspect of my life. I feel like I've just been kind of laid back, and I need to step it up.
Really?
It's time for me to go ahead and have that baby. It's time for me to go ahead and get married. You say I put the baby before marriage.
You got to see my facial expression right now. Like, what?
Oh, it's time for me to do some things. I think I might want to even move out of this place. I've been here for what, 8-9 years, it seems like.
Well, you cleaned off the counter. I mean, I was shocked.
My goodness. And yes, I did the same thing last year too.
Yeah, I don't remember it. But anyway.
And I got everything in that box over there on the floor. And it's like all that stuff usually is on the counter. And like I know where everything is, but I realized that it doesn't need to be on the counter. Like,
duh.
But it's like easy access in case I need it, just in case. Like those toothpicks, like the hand sanitizer.
Why can't the toothpicks go in one of the cabinets in the kitchen? The hand sanitizer go into the bathroom under the sink.
Because you wouldn't go in the bathroom under the sink for the hand sanitizer. You need to sanitize your hands in emergency situations.
And so the counter in the kitchen is the where for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about the kitchen under the sink?
It's hiding. It doesn't need to be hiding.
Isn't it multiple bottles? Why don't you put one in the kitchen, well then get some more. Put one in the kitchen, one in the bathroom, one in your bedroom. There you go.
This is why I need a wife. So she can put all those things in various places. I
have, soap. I have lotion all over my house.
Now that's one thing I don't really have all over that. I'm not a lotion guy.
When I wash my hands, the moment they come out of water, they get dried off and I put lotion on. So, and because I'm female and I'm always doing something and then I end up washing my hands. I got a dog, cleaning something. I'm constantly washing my hands throughout the day. I have lotion everywhere. I've got it in my office, got it in my bedroom, got it in my living room, got it right by my nightstand, got it in the bathroom, got it in my closet. I got lotion everywhere.
When I put lotion on, it just feels so like.
When you put lotion on,
yeah.
How often is that?
Every now and then, if my hands are like hurting at work, I'll put on some lotion. But it feels like something's wrong because I'm not used to it, and so I go wash my hands
you go wash
in order
the
to get this.
Off.
Yeah, to get this off me because it don't feel right. It's not normal. To
it
me.
Is normal
because like in the summer, I got that natural oil. My body knows what to do.
Boy, you gonna look like you 90 before you 50. I'm just saying. You need lotion on your body.
Don't be trying to speak that into my existence.
You need lotion on your body.
That's the man trying to sell a product and make you believe that this is what you need.
Okay.
I feel like you can get some butter. You can put some butter on your skin.
We gonna come back to this spot in about 20, 30 years, and we gonna see what you look like.
I'm gonna be looking good.
You know you not if you don't use lotion.
Body all drawn up. Anyway.
All wrinkly like prunes. Anywho, so how was your Christmas?
Oh, we did have Christmas.
Yes,
I
we
forgot.
did.
I forgot all about it. It was cool, just kind of chill per usual. Christmas and Thanksgiving are those holidays where I don't too much deal with people. Kind of stick to myself, and if I can be alone, I would rather be alone.
We know.
But my brother was here, and then my friend Nisha, she was here as well. It was nice. We just talked. She counted my change. I have a jar full of change, and that excites her for some reason. I mean, like I was like trying to put it away. I just showed her that I'm getting up there as far as the amount of change in this jar, and she got so excited and almost upset at the fact that I didn't want her to spend her time counting this change, because who got time for that? And so she counted it. It was like, it's over like $120 in there. And, that got me excited. I felt like I needed to pay her for doing all that counting for me. But other than that, it was kind of laid back. And just chilled, played the video game like I do pretty much every holiday. Yeah, that was it. What did you do?
We do Christmas with my mom, and then my entire family comes over. So we were all there. This is the first year without my great uncle. So it was a little different because he's usually there asking me to get him cake and pie and all kind of stuff he wasn't supposed to eat anyway. But my nephew, my 3-year-old nephew, the 8-year-old, now he knows what Christmas is about. Well, my 3-year-old nephew found out what Christmas was about, and he's opening his gifts and so excited. Look at what I got. Look at what I got. And he couldn't look at his gift until he pulled every inch of paper off the gift.
Yeah.
So, he couldn't just look and say,
of kids do that,
yay.
yeah.
No,
He ain't focused. Got to get that wrapping paper off. Yeah.
And he wanted to open his gift and everybody else's gift, which my other nephew was not having. But they had a good Christmas. I dressed up like a reindeer just for them, they didn't even notice.
Can we post your pictures?
Nope. They didn't even notice, though. My heart was broken. I stood there. I'm like, I'm sitting here dressed like a reindeer in this fleece onesie about to die because it's so hot. And neither one of them said nothing.
Were they supposed to get on your back? Like, what was they supposed to do?
They was just at least supposed to notice, ooh, you dressed like a reindeer.
Did you have the little hoodie on?
I had antlers on.
Uh-huh.
I had the reindeer onesie. And it said Rudolph, all kind of stuff.
Did you have the red nose? Maybe
no, I didn't have. Maybe I should have had a red nose.
If you had the red nose, they would have known.
And my mama says something to him, and my 3-year-old nephew says, "Oh, reindeer," and then turns around and finishes what he's doing. I'm like, really, dude?
Yeah, because he didn't care. You went all out, and they didn't care.
They didn't care, not one little bit.
Kids, you get them all these fancy toys and spend all this money, and a lot of them would rather play with the wrapping paper or the box.
True.
And so I think parents need to remember that when they try to go all out and spend $20,000, $150,000 on a birthday party or Christmas gifts, kids don't care about none of that. They just like colors.
Well, now the 8-year-old, he wanted a computer.
Yeah, he's older though.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the 3-year-old.
He's already at the expensive gifts, but he wanted a computer.
The 3-year-old?
The 8-year-old.
Okay, you was about to get cussed out.
No, I ain't thinking about him. But the 8-year-old, he's already at the expensive gifts. He wanted a computer, so I got him. I had an old computer. My aunt did actually. She had just got a new one, and so we gave him her old one, and he opened it. Is this what I think it is? His eyes got so big. So he loved his computer, but then he says, okay, now where are the games? I'm like, what games? We didn't discuss games. You said you wanted a computer. I want to see what you're going to do with this. But one of the games he wants is some game they play at his school, some kind of math game.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to see if I can't find the game because that's something that would be good for you.
Right.
So, but yeah, he's got a computer now.
And I remember Walmart when I was working there in electronics. They used to sell like a lot of computer games, like not the same ones we played in school, but they were learning computer games,
well,
which is probably what you. Hopefully, they still have stuff like that available. Instead of you can buy it at the store instead of having to go to school in order to play those same games.
Right. Well, I'm gonna see if I can't find this math game he's talking about, and a
then
few
math
other
of all
games.
things.
Right. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But he got that, and then his birthday was the 6th, so he got a Nerf gun for Christmas, and we had to sit down and discuss how you're supposed to use a gun.
Did you discuss the gun laws with him?
Yes, I gave him rules, and I told him if he breaks the rules, we're going to take the gun away from him. And the number one rule, of course, is with all guns, you don't ever point a gun at a person. And that's hard.
we hear that. But it's like, well, then what's the fun of the gun?
Well, that's especially as a kid. For a Nerf gun, that was hard.
Because you know it's not going to hurt anybody.
As soon as I said it, he was like, how am I supposed to do this?
Yeah. And
even when I got it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give him all these rules. But the first thing I wanted to do was shoot my auntie in the butt with it. Like, but I can't do it. I got to, but I want my whole point for the gun thing is nowadays with the gun laws being so lax pretty much across the country, you never know when a kid's getting ready to come across a gun.
Right. Well, no, we've seen time and time again.
Right.
Kids coming across guns and shooting themselves or shooting other kids.
And so I want him to understand that if you come across a gun, rule number 1 is you never point it at anybody.
All right.
Rule number 2, you always assume that gun is loaded. Always. So I'm trying to teach him that with a fake gun, to just teach him responsibility. And I told him, when I gave it to him, I said, now come sit down. We're going to talk. This is a responsibility gift. You have to be responsible. It's time for you to learn some things here. But when I told him he couldn't shoot it at nobody, his little heart broke.
Yeah, because it defeats 90% of the purpose of the gun.
So I told him, you and your friends need to come up and make a fake characters to shoot and shoot at people that ain't really there.
You should have got or drew you could have done this, Auntie. Some fake targets, so he'd had something to shoot at.
To shoot at. And I told him you can shoot at cans and you can shoot at your toys and stuff like that, but you cannot shoot at another person. And I said, and if I see you do it, grandmother sees you do it, or mommy sees you do it, we're going to take it from you. I also told him it had to be put up and kept out of his little brother's way. So when he was done playing with it, he had to find the up place and it had to be put away. And he's like, okay. 2 minutes later, that gun was sitting on the floor. He was gone off doing something else.
Exactly. That gun ain't no fun no more. He ain't got time.
I had to call him back. I was like, is it put up? Do you want to take? No. He put it up. I'm like, okay.
Well, soon as he get home.
Well, he's not allowed to take it home. That was one of the other rules because my sister needs to learn responsibility too. And I told her that. She was like, shut up. So it stays at grandmother's house.
Right on. So, somebody that will actually, watch over, make sure
he learns responsibility. Yeah. So, but otherwise, Christmas was good. We had dinner as usual. I took home half of what was left over as usual. So it's all kind of crap in my freezer. But at least I got food. I can't complain.
Right on. That's a blessing. We had we did the seafood bake with the shrimp and the sausage, corn and broccoli. Like it was really, really good.
Oh. Your brother do that?
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
If I did, it'd probably been some baked cereal or something like that. But I've been doing pretty good as far as my spaghetti. And you know what I'm a pro at these days?
What?
My chili. I be throwing down on some. I used to always eat chili in the can. Some old good old Hormel chili.
Some nasty chili.
And I tear it up. It was good to me. But then I realized how easy it was to concoct my own. And I'm telling you, hey, I guarantee you my chili is way better than anything you can produce. I've seen you probably got wheat beans. You got fake meat.
You told me you don't like my chili.
You know why? It ain't good. My chili is the bomb diggity. I'm telling you, I put my foot in my chili.
What do you put in your chili?
I don't know. Don't be trying to get my recipe because yours is crap.
I like my grandma's recipe, so that's what I'm going to stick with.
No offense to your grandma, but I feel like your hands.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell her you don't like her chili. Now that I think about it, let me tell my grandma on you.
We talking about your chili.
You had this conversation with her.
No. The chili was lovely.
Whatever. Okay, that's right.
But I feel like I can throw down on some chili. That's like my one signature dish so far. I'm trying to step up my repertoire in 2018. We're going to see how this goes.
I'm just glad to see you not eating cereal and bologna no more.
I know. They ain't no more. Just not as often. Shoot, they are still staples in this home. No more. Get out of here. Just wrote them off.
So I went and I got a new phone.
You got was that it?
It was not a Christmas present.
It didn't look new.
Yes.
It looked. You got the same case?
Yeah.
Oh,
just a case that'll cover the entire phone. But it wasn't a Christmas present. It was just, well, it turned out to be a Christmas present. Put it that way. Verizon gave me a Christmas present. So I had a few little issues. You know me and customer service, we don't get along.
You and people, I don't
I
think.
love people.
But
I even like customer service people who
do what you tell them to
provide
do.
customer service. Because again, I don't call customer service
I don't like that pink case.
easily. Of course you don't like my pink case.
But go ahead.
I don't call, you know me, I don't call customer service unless I absolutely have to, and 9 times out of 10, that means something's wrong. So if you are
Or there's something wrong, or something that's right that you feel is wrong because it's not doing what you believe it should do. That's
like
my
I
problem
said,
with you and
it's
customer
usually
service.
something wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
as far as I'm concerned, if you are not helping me resolve the issue and you calling Ethernet cables Ethernet, and you don't know terminology, you don't know the basics of how your own system works. If I know more than you do, we got a problem because you can't help me.
right.
So
I agree with you there.
Usually, I already know. I know more than the first line of defense knows here. So let me get to tier 2 customer service. Just put me through to them, and we don't have this problem. But no, they gotta do
You know
their
they got
job.
to. Yeah, they got to go through the
and
status quo.
And we end up fighting. Well, I went to go get my new phone, and as usual, problems arise. Normally, you get a new phone, you just go in, you buy what you want. But they had this deal, this BOGO deal. Buy one, get one free. So I was like, okay, well, I owe one payment on the phone that I have now. The bill's already closed out. It's on the bill. The bill is due in a few weeks. We're going to pay it off when the bill's due. No big deal. I said, but let me just ask and see if they'll let me do it. And then also,
Let me do what?
if they would just allow the payment to come at the end of the month like normal, or if they were going to make me pay it off now.
In
Just
order to
trying
get another
right,
phone.
in order to go ahead and get the other phone. And then when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I also probably need to see what this deal, you had to go into an unlimited plan, which at one time I had an unlimited plan, but because they decided to take them away, they wouldn't leave me grandfathered into the new plan, so they forced me out of it. Now they got to force me back into it. Really? Ain't nobody got time for all this.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, let's see if they'll at least let us start the plan at the beginning of our next billing cycle versus now, because we just literally stepped into the billing cycle. So I pick up the phone and I'm asking my questions, and the lady says, no, you got to pay off your phone now. And no, you got to go and you got to do it going into the new, or you got to go into the new plan when you get the phone. If you wait until then, you won't be able to get the phone. I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, well, thank you. I just had some questions, wanted to figure them out. We'll call you back
When we're ready
when we're ready,
yeah.
you know? And so me and my aunt, we sat there and we talked about it. She was like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm like, okay, let's go do this. So I just go online to do it. I go online. I get both phones. On there. I see the buy one, get one free offer. Everything's good. And tells me the $30 for the lovely upgrade fee for each phone, because you got to pay $30 every time you upgrade a freaking phone, which is dumb to me, but whatever. That's just how they get their little fees. So we knew that was coming, and then the $20 for the phone, and we knew we were going to have this prorated bill. I was like, okay, no problem. So you see the total, $76. And so I'm going to check out, but one thing keeps bothering me. There's this section that says sales tax, and it's like $175, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, what is this? It's not calculating into my total. And I'm pretty much at the end of my cart, putting in my credit card and everything, and it's still not calculating into this total. And I'm like, before I push sale,
yeah.
I need to know what this is and where is it going. Is it going to be on that next bill? How is it going to show up? Because I'm thinking, maybe it'll be on that very next bill coming up, or are they spreading it across with the rest of the payment? What's going on? And so I called a lady and I asked her, what is this $76 or this $175? I'm sorry. And she says, well, let's put it all in. So she puts everything in. She says, oh, that's your sales tax. And I'm like, well, why? When do I pay this sales tax? Do I pay it on the next billing cycle? She said, no, it has to be paid now. I'm like, it's not calculating into my total. It's just showing what happens if I go ahead and do this and it don't calculate into my total? And she's like, oh, that has to be paid now. And so she starts calculating, and of course, what was supposed to be $76 now turns into $200 and something. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Buy one, get one free. And now I'm paying $200 up front and still paying the monthly fee. I'm like, y'all doing something fishy here. And so she said, I'll knock off those little activation fees for you. We'll take those out. And I'm like, okay, but still, that's still more than I was planning on spending right now. So let me think about it and call you back. I'm like, it's right before Christmas. Let me think about it. Let's look at our money, make sure we got everything set so we can do this. And she says, okay. And she put good notes in the computer for me. And so a few days later, I said, okay, I'm going to go on and do it. And I called one girl because I was just going to go into the store to do it at this point. And I'll call one girl and I'd have her look. And I'm like, hey, did you take a good look at
my notes on my account?
And does it tell you everything? She said, yeah, you getting the buy one, get one free. You putting one on this line, one on that line. Just make sure you know the phone numbers when you go into the store because that might confuse them. But yeah, I see you getting one on this line, one on that line.
Did she know about the discount?
Yeah, she sees the activation fees are waived. She's like, yeah, you good. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Well, my aunt and I sat there and we talked about it again. And she was like, no, let's just go on and call them and do it right now so they don't mess nothing up. I was like, okay. So
all these phone calls.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, let's call them back right now. And so I call them and I get this guy on the phone. And I'm like, okay, hey, I'm ready to purchase these phones now. Okay, this is what we're doing. If you take a look at the notes on the account, we're getting a buy one get one free offer. One is going on the line, and then this one's going on the line, and then that. And I said, and he just cut me off. You have to get a new line of service. I'm like, well, hold on. And he's like, no, that is the deal. It's been that way. If it's even that way online, if you go look. And I was like, first of all, and he's getting loud at this point. And
at the beginning of the conversation?
Yes, at the beginning of the conversation. I ain't yelled, I ain't screamed, nothing. He's getting loud. And my auntie is sitting right next to me and she hears it. And my aunt, she cuss like a sailor. Mm-hmm. She's the reason I handle customer service. And she's looking, and I could tell she's ready to go off. And I'm like, hold up, dude. Why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling at you. I said, look, I don't want to talk to you no more. Just give me your supervisor. And he starts pulling up stuff. He's like, yeah, you have to pay. I'm looking at, I said, give me your supervisor.
Yeah, I don't need to talk
We're
to you.
done. You and I are finished because I'm going to cuss you out in a minute. And so he gets his supervisor on the phone. The supervisor says, well, how can I help you? I said, first of all, I need somebody to pull that call because that guy just yelled at me for no reason. And the supervisor says, well, I'm sitting two rows or 2 seats down from him. And what I heard didn't sound like yelling, but whatever, let's move on. And I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with you either. Goodbye. And I hung up the phone. And I'm heated now. Uh-huh. I'm pissed. My auntie picks up the phone and she calls the chick. She calls and gets a girl on the line. And the girl, she tells her my niece was just on the line and the guy was yelling at her. I could hear him. And then the supervisor wasn't no better. And the girl, she just apologizes. She's like, you see the notes on the account? And the girl says, yeah, you're doing this, and this. And my auntie says, is there a problem with us doing this? Because they're telling us we have to add a new line of service. And the girl stops and she says, oh, yeah, you do. She's like, we can't do this. You have to add a new line of service. And she apologizes and everything. But what was supposed to be $200 now has jumped up to $200 plus a whole new line of service that nobody needs, which is $70 a month for a phone we don't need. And so my aunt was like, okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. And she hung up the phone and she's like, okay, I know you. What are you getting ready to do? I said, nothing. Just wait. I said, don't do nothing. Just nothing. Let me make a phone call tomorrow morning because I couldn't, me, I'm impatient. Mm-hmm. But it's nothing I can do now because everybody's at home in their beds. It's 8, 9 o'clock at night. Business is closed. So I got up 8:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. The first thing I did was picked up my phone and I called Verizon's corporate office in New Jersey, I think it was. Uh-huh. And guy answers the phone. I said, I need to speak with someone about your customer service, but please do not send me back through that customer service line because they are the problem. And the guy says, okay, no problem. And he asked for my phone number, transferred me to their executive escalations office. And the first girl I got on the line, I told her what happened. I told her about the supervisor, and I said, I don't have a problem with men. I love men. But right now, I don't want to speak to another man from Verizon because every time I speak with men, I got a problem. All these women have been helpful and nice, but every man has been a problem. And she said, well, this kind of attitude shouldn't come from nobody, not even a man or a woman. This shouldn't happen. And so she's apologizing, but she's like, yeah, they're right. We can't do anything, but let me put you on hold and see what I can do to take care of you. And I said, no problem. Well, I have an app called Blacklist on my phone. So anything that comes into my phone that's not in my phone book, any phone call, automatically gets hung up on. Well, the problem is that app also hangs up on me. So if I'm on the phone, it will disconnect the call in order to force that call to go to voicemail.
Oh, you might need to change that.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm going to have to get rid of that app because it's not working.
You mean tell me you had to make another
It
call?
hung up on our call. So I had to call back, and I gave the girl her name, and she said, you know what? I have no way of getting you back to her. I'm so sorry, but let me try to help you. So I told the story all over again.
This is irritating.
And so she, of course, again, is apologetic, and she's like, give me just one moment. So she said, and she put me on hold again, but this time I turned off that Blacklist app. So I'm waiting, and she comes back. She says, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. She said, I can't give you that offer because you have to get a new line of service to get that promotion. She said, but this is what I am going to do. I'm going to just give you a phone. She's like, you want to upgrade one line, and then I'm going to just give you another phone. That way you get the two phones. You just don't get the offer. I'm not going to force you to change your plan. I'm not going to force you to do nothing here. And she just started doing everything. She rang it up. I paid for one phone. She gave me the other phone free.
Well, I thought it was already a buy one get, but
it was supposed to be
a new line of service.
Right.
Okay.
So she was just giving me the buy one get one free, but without all the stipulations to it.
Okay.
Then she goes and she puts it in the computer to send it out with 2-day delivery, which should have been right before Christmas. The Saturday before Christmas. Was Christmas on a Monday?
Christmas was on Monday, yes.
So it should have arrived the Saturday before Christmas, but for some reason it kept landing in her computer and showing it was going to be delivered Christmas Day. And she was like, well, I know that's not getting ready to happen. So she said, you know what? I'm not even ready to deal with this. You're going to get overnight delivery for free. So I got the one phone for free, got overnight delivery, and didn't have to do any of that BS.
But you had to go through all
But
that
I had to
nonsense.
go through all that BS. But I got a phone.
Yeah,
That's
but
I
mean,
got the
it's
phone.
still the principal. I'm sure those guys that you talked to, including the supervisor, didn't learn a lesson.
Oh, but now when I told her what happened, she put me on hold. She was talking to me, and she just kept saying, just give me a minute. I know I'm taking a long time. I'm really not trying to keep you on hold that long, but I'm typing up everything you telling me. We are going to make sure we talk to them. So she did say she was going to make sure that they were talked to. And she did just apologize. And the main thing is, I've been with Verizon since I was 19 years old. That was my first phone given to me when I was 19. My aunt has been with the company since, mobile phones used to have being bagged.
Yeah.
Okay, so she started out with a company called Cellular One.
That was my first cell phone,
And
Cellular One.
When Verizon came in, they bought Cellular One. She's never left.
Okay.
So it's been since the 80s since she's been with basically that same company. And so, the lady got to looking at her history, and she's like, y'all pay y'all bill on time. She's like, we ain't never had to send you a late notice. You ain't never been charged a late fee. You've had this line for over 20 something odd years. She's like, we just gonna give you a phone.
That's the least we can do
After everything I've been through. And so I called my aunt, and I said, okay, so this is what we gonna do. She said, what? I said, you're gonna look in your mail tomorrow, and it's gonna be a phone there. And she said, what? And so I told her what happened. She's like, you got it for free? We don't have to do none of that stuff? I said, no. She said, okay, maybe I need to just shut up and let you do things. I was just like, oh, I was so heated.
I mean, to have to go through that, and I hate calling customer service, period. I feel like you like it a little bit more than you admit, but
I like getting my problem resolved. Ultimately, I don't like everything I have to go through. When I get to, my feeling is, if I call you and you can't say the word Ethernet, and I simply say, baby, you can't help me. I think it would be a lot easier if there weren't so many restrictions.
But those usually are handed down by the call center itself. Because it's like, you do not escalate this call. So you're doing everything, but you should try to work out the issue and try to help as much as you can and not fuss at the person.
I wouldn't even mind that you want to help. If you truly want to help me resolve the issue and you want to talk about, but if I tell you, okay, look, I done already rebooted and turned off, turned on, pulled batteries. I've already done that. So I'm not new at this. Please don't give me those immediate basic things. They're done. Let's move to the next level. If you can sit there and say, okay, well, you've already done that, let's move on. But most of these people can't, because the reality is most of these people don't have a clue about what they're doing.
Right.
Most of them probably got a little Apple phone and it do everything they wanted to do because that's the way Apple sets it up. And they don't have any specific needs or any specific things that, they don't jailbreak.
They don't try to customize
like
it or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
No customizations. They just know, well, this is what it do. And so they're looking in a computer and reading what the computer says. And then they come back to you. Well, I've already looked in the computer. I've already read everything Google got to say. I've read not only what your computer is saying, but I've read everybody who's tried it, they comments, what worked, what didn't. I've read everything you can think of before I even come to you.
Right.
So when you give me that basic and I tell you, nope, I've done that, can we move past the basic, and you still don't want to move past the basic, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm done with you. I have no use. We are wasting time. Let me move on up because you can't help me anymore. And that's where I think customer service loses its appeal. You want to help somebody. You want to not escalate a call. I get that. You want to try to one-stop shop, handle it. Then cool. But if they can't handle it, they need to be able to escalate up instead of saying, well, I still got to have you take the battery out. I still got to have you unplug the phone. I've already done that, but I still need you to do it again. Are you sure it's plugged into a jack that works? Well, it was working 10 minutes ago. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. Why don't you go out and get something else and plug it into that jack and make sure, that kind of stuff. It's like, sweetheart, I've already done that. I know these things work. I don't want to go through this again. But yet and still, they force you to go through it. So that's where my customer service issue is.
And the fact that you also call, it's like, I want my phone to turn into a butterfly. And they feel some type of way about that because they can't do it, and you insist on your phone flying.
See, if somebody else's phone turned into a butterfly,
then
I know it's possible. And so I want mine to turn into one as well. Right. I do not ask anything out of a computer, a phone, a system, or nothing.
I won't agree with that.
That can't be done. It can all be done. You just might not know how to do it, but it can be done.
No, sometimes it can't be done.
Like
and you just
what?
Refuse to accept it.
If you can give me one thing that can't be done.
I remember I stopped being your customer service.
I know,
your
you
tech
stopped
support.
being my tech support because I wanted specifics. But you know what?
What?
I got them to work.
No.
Without you.
I don't believe that.
Give me hey, all you got to do is name it.
Yeah,
I found a way.
Once I go back through the archives, I'll be able to name. You go back
through the archives, and we know you got archives.
Yeah, I got archives.
You got every text message we've ever sent to one another. You got archives,
especially with you because you a problem. So I got to be able to refer back. Anyway, moving on with the show, we are going to be talking about 2017 and some of the headlines that happened over the year, some of the craziness, some things that kind of stood out to us, some things we just wanted to bring up again. I got a couple updates. But before we get into any of that, this last final 2017 Black Achievements in Excellence, we are going to give to your pick. What is T.I.'s real name? Do you know?
Heck if I know. What does T.I. stand for?
I don't know. They call him Tip. I know that's not
But
his name.
well, and why they leave
Is it? I know his last name
Why
is
they leave
Harris,
the
though,
P
right?
off?
His last name is
Yes.
Harris.
I don't know why they leave the
Google it while I tell you what T.I. decided to do. And this article is saying he did it on Christmas Day. And I just don't know too many places, especially this Target that they're referring to being open on Christmas. Because everybody is usually at home, but if it was before Christmas, if it was after Christmas, T.I. walked up in the Target and said, "Hey, I'm calling all the single mothers." He didn't say single ladies. He wasn't trying to be Beyonce. He said just the single mothers. And he called them up to the front and offered to pay for all the items, all the toys for the children that they weren't able to afford. He was even walking through the aisles, greeting and meeting with all the single mothers, doing whatever he could to help them in a 30-minute. It was a short time. But in that short time period, Brother Man racked up $20,000 in bills. Just trying to help out.
Well, hey, he did.
He did that. And
And
sometimes it don't take much. It don't take long. And some people say, I can't spend $1 million in a year. I used to tell myself, I can't spend $1 million in a lifetime. But
Especially
I
in
got
Trump's
a feeling
America.
that I probably could. I probably could spend $1 million in a half a year.
Yeah.
Especially, with your...
in this case, he's not just spending it on him. He just
right,
spent
right.
this money on a whole bunch of
other
people he didn't
yeah,
know.
that's the reason why we're celebrating him. But I just thought about the amount of money and the amount of time. Can you imagine making $20,000 in 30 minutes?
Why can't he walk into Walmart and do that?
Because-
the Walmart around the corner from my house when I'm in there.
A lot of people try to, especially black people, for some reason, they kind of look down on Walmart and they big up Target. Even though the lights are brighter and Target sometimes seems to be cleaner, you still got the same ratchet folks working there.
Well, it ain't even the same ratchet folks. They still got the same ratchet crap. They just they just make you pay a little bit more money for it. But it's the same stuff.
Well, when you pay more, you appreciate it more. That's what they say.
No. I'll keep my money in my pocket and appreciate my money and appreciate the thing over there anyway. But his name is Clifford Joseph Harris.
Clifford, that's
so
right.
So where
Clifford.
did T.I. come from or Tip?
Well, sometimes you got to change your name,
Yeah,
Especially when the man is trying to take it down, you got to do what you got to do.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, shout out to T.I. for helping those single mothers and for stepping up and doing what he needed to do in their moment of need and just lending a helping hand. We appreciate that, brother.
Cool. Well, this year has been interesting.
To say the least.
Little Kim was robbing folks.
What?
Usher got herpes.
Usher in the herpes situation.
OJ got out. The juice got loose.
Juice got loose.
R. Kelly had a sex cult. Found out Jada Pinkett was selling drugs.
Oh, yeah, she wrote a tell-all book or a book or something like that.
Told
she talked
about her drug selling days.
Uh-huh.
The mooch got fired before he actually got hired. The Boy Scouts of America had to apologize for Donald Trump.
And then they let the girls in too, right?
They let the girls in. And then Hurricane Harvey, Irma, Maria, Jose, the fires in California, and now record-breaking snowfall up north, and it's cold as hell outside.
Yeah, in little old Kansas City.
My commute to work is less than 10 seconds.
From your bedroom to your living room?
From my bedroom to my office. Let me tell you right now, that's the longest commute. That's been the longest commute this week. It's cold.
It is cold. And your boys out there on the corners, hey, I got to do what I got to do. I ain't one of those people, if I can get there, I know I got to work because I got to provide for myself at least.
Yeah, you don't have your family to provide for.
Right. So, I got to do what I got to do. If I got to stand out in the cold,
You got to wear 20 layers to stand out in the cold. It's cold.
Hey, you got to do, as a grown-ass man, you got to do what you got to do.
On my way here, I took a picture of my little speedometer with the temperature in it. Mm-hmm. It said 9 degrees. That's not a real number. That can't be a real number.
It's a real number.
Degrees come in twos, not ones.
Sometimes they come in one. So that means, on your way home, you got to be prepared and look out because you be driving. So we always talk about your driving, your seeing, you're reckless. But you got to you got to be prepared for the black ice. I ain't gonna never forget that time.
Ice out there.
No, it's ice even outside of my parking lot.
There's no ice out there.
It didn't see. This is the problem. This is what you're reckless. be prepared for black ice and just
No, I'm gonna get
drive-
prepared for my black butt to get home to my black
drive
bed.
carefully.
I'll drive carefully, but it's cold.
I'm surprised you didn't mention your New Edition story came out this year, and you watched it. I'm sure several times.
I actually watched it today.
See, and
It was on when I woke up.
I still haven't seen it.
That's on you. It was on when I woke up.
I heard it was good.
You should watch it. It come on BET every other day. You know, BET gets something that's good, and they just gotta run it into the ground.
And then people be hating it. Steve Harvey faced some backlash this year. You know,
yeah,
with
he
his,
used to face
he
a
went
lot
to
of
go.
backlash.
He went to go and see old Trump, and then try to tell us how we need to respect Trump and all of this crap.
He trying to fix that though now.
He's trying now. At the end of the year, he's realizing that I was wrong. Hurt. He said, you guys hurt me deep.
He didn't say he was wrong to go see the man and had a meeting.
He was wrong for coming at us like he came, not understanding us, not wanting him to be a photo opportunity for a president that's not going to do anything.
It hasn't.
And it hasn't done anything. That reminds me of Chrisette Michelle and her little debacle when she went and performed at the inauguration, then tried to fuss at us for not understanding her reasons behind it. She was representing us. She was doing it for us. And then we was like, no, we didn't ask you. Don't do nothing for me that you feel that I know and I'm telling you is a negative thing, and then try to make me see the positive.
It sound like
in it.
Omarosa when she talking about I'm trying to represent my people.
My people.
Who your people? Because I ain't your people.
All Omarosa has done is talk down to all black people for the most part. And like I said, before she even started campaigning and stomping for Trump, I didn't like her.
Right, she didn't represent me before. She didn't represent me during, and she dang on sure ain't about to represent me after.
She's a vile human being.
I hope her name and everything just disappear.
Well, until the book comes out, you know good and hell well.
Buy that book?
You.
No, I ain't.
Well, you gonna download it somehow.
No, I ain't. I ain't got nothing.
You need to know. You got to know.
No, I don't. It's gonna go wood on the sellers list.
Now, one subject we talked about on one of the shows this year was the officer Shannon. His name is Shannon Kepler, and he was the guy whose daughter was dating the young man, the black guy. His daughter was dating a black guy, and when they first met, I told you this story. The young cat reached out his hand to shake, and the officer shot him.
I don't remember, but I'm sure you told it to me.
And you said because there was the auntie talking. When she said, he was reaching to shake his hand, and the officer says he thought it was a gun. And so it was like, it was either him or me. So he shot, he was, self-defense or something like that. And you were saying, well, we don't know because maybe he did feel that way. And that's the auntie talking. She wasn't there. And
okay. I might have said all that. Okay.
Well, the update is after on the fourth trial, because it kept mistrial after mistrial, he was finally convicted, found guilty.
Okay.
And sentenced to 15 years because the rest of the world, well, except for those other juries.
Except for the 3 other juries. But okay.
But that's 15 people, more, 30, 35, 36 people. The rest of the world, including me, not you, realize that he shot that young man because he was a black boy dating his precious, pure white daughter. And he had a problem with it.
Well, okay, good. He got justice.
Yes. I
don't disagree with justice, period, but I don't remember the story. And if you said that's what I said, then I'm sure that's what I said.
You know, I remember, especially when you slide a little hate in there. But the jury recommended 15 years. The judge agreed 15 years, and I'm glad.
The story made news, but the follow-up didn't.
Now, we did find the follow-up, and I wrote it down, but we just didn't talk about it on the show because the judge hadn't sentenced him yet. Mm-hmm. It was back in October where the jury came back, found him guilty, but the sentencing came in November.
Okay.
And the judge agreed with the jury, gave him 15 years, and finally, another case of justice working in our benefit.
Yeah, it hasn't been many, but okay.
Yeah,
I think Walter Scott, the guy who shot Walter Scott, ended up going to jail.
What was
it
guy?
Walter Scott?
Yeah, Slager. Michael Slager was the officer, I believe.
He ended up getting convicted.
He got convicted, found guilty, which is, a clear-cut case.
I feel like all of them were, especially Philando Castile. But that one, dude was running away. It was clear-cut, straight in the back. And then you saw him go over there and mess with stuff. It's like, really, dude?
Yeah, plant.
But, with us, we just never know which way this going to go.
You never know, because some juries are just confused. This year was the year that the NAACP decided to submit a travel advisory to your state,
Yes.
Missouri, which is crazy. Saying like, hey, black
It
folks,
ain't safe.
you may not want to travel to, and it was based on laws that Missouri had implemented that allows police officers to discriminate
right.
against us.
But you know what kills me is, okay, but black folks, you might not want to travel, but what about the ones that live there?
They
It's
feel like y'all
what was we supposed to do?
y'all used to it. Y'all already know what to do, what kind of moves to make. But it's, you go to a new place and you don't really know the places that you're not supposed to visit at after
Right,
hours
the
or
sun
whatever.
downtown.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So it may have been one of those situations. Also this year, the Charlottesville, Virginia, the white nationalists, the white supremacist rally that happened in Virginia, that was crazy this year.
Yeah.
Jamanisha married the 11-year-old girl who went to spend the night over her so-called friend's house, and her friend decided to perform the hot water challenge on her and burn her face. That was ridiculous. That's a reminder that not everybody is your friend. And you already mentioned all the hurricanes. And we talked about another story. Remember the Air Force Academy where the white captains or sergeant came up and he was like, hey, we ain't got no time for discrimination because somebody wrote like the N-word across some lockers or whatever.
Lockers, yep.
The update to that is they found out that it was actually a black person that did it.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they kick him out?
I'm sure they did.
I hope
but,
so.
I didn't read that part. I thought it was just interesting. And this is not the first time that we've seen. I think there was another situation. I think it was Halloween where some black guy was complaining that people wrote the N-word all over his car and was discriminating.
He was the one that
and
did
he was
it.
the one that did it.
Yeah, them people need to go because y'all causing problems.
And one thing that black folks that, most people that I know as, people of color don't have a problem with doing is calling our people on the carpet. When you mess up,
you got to
we
go.
will let you know. Like
we
if you're wrong,
got enough problems. We don't need your butt bringing us down even further.
See, we ain't the type of people, and that's just the difference between I think black people and white people. We're not the type to just because you are a pedophile, we can overlook that, because we got to look at the bigger picture. Hell no. You're a pedophile. You need to be shot. You need to be dealt with, and you ain't getting no passes. Not from us. Omarosa resigning. That's and
the question still is: did she resign,
or was she fired,
or did she get dragged out of the White House?
Well, the story that most black, African Americans want to believe is the dragging story, because of the way she treated us.
I don't
because
even
the way
think
she
it's that we
talked down
want
to
to believe it. I believe it's just we can believe it because
of her character.
That whole story is her character. She gets fired. She starts cussing. That sounds just like something she would do.
And then
start cussing,
get fired, and then want to go and talk to Trump because she knows she has pull and influence
feels
with
like
him.
she can say what she want to say. So now here the Secret Service is dragging her out the door. I can see that. I can believe that.
We can believe it.
So I hope it's true.
Well, and some people get up in arms at the fact they feel like we're celebrating her downfall or whatever. And I don't think it's any of that. I think we're just acknowledging the fact. Well, I'm happy. But it's not that I'm celebrating her downfall. I'm excited at the fact that she's been reminded that you're just because you're in this place of influence or whatever, you're still not better than us.
No, I'm celebrating her downfall because
I'm talking about me.
She's a liar.
She's a liar.
She claimed she was in there helping us, and she didn't help nobody but herself. So yeah, that kind of person, I want them to come down. I want them to get out the way and let somebody else who's going to do the right thing
who you think that's
in that position. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't feel like that man is getting ready to put nobody in that position. But she still need to get out the way because she ain't doing nothing but making us look bad. So yeah, I celebrate her downfall.
But she only looked bad to us. She didn't look bad to them.
She looked terrible to me.
They loved her. They loved her. I mean,
until she made us look
stupid. They had to deal with her. They loved how she dealt with us. I think that's one of the things that they got off on. How she dealt with black people, how she got up there and was nice, nasty. She still seemed professional to them. But we recognize the shadiness. We recognize the nastiness and the vileness behind her words.
You gonna make me cuss.
Oh, this is the end of 2017. You can cuss if you want to. And then the I guess the unveiling of all the sexual harassment, the sexual assault cases. That was
The
a
Me Too
really, really
movement.
big thing in 2017 that I don't know if anybody saw. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see it. Not to say that I didn't think that it was happening. I didn't think that
You
so
just
many
didn't see the
people would.
movement
Yeah,
coming.
I not at all.
I didn't see the movement coming, but I can tell you what I do see coming. The fight back now, because every woman who's ever been sexually harassed by anybody is coming out, and to some degree, I mean, I definitely believe they need to be heard. But now there are men who either are being accused that didn't really do anything wrong,
Right.
or even men who are being accused and they don't think they did anything wrong because of course, the society we live in, and it has been made to be okay for so long.
It was acceptable for so long. Yeah.
Right. So they are like, what do you mean I did something wrong? I didn't do nothing wrong.
This is
And
just
so
what
now
everybody else was doing.
right.
This was the culture. That's the problem.
And now these men are getting ready to fight back. I see that with Tavis Smiley. It's getting ready to happen where they say, you can't just accuse me and I get fired from my job
Now that
for something I
yeah.
did 30 years ago. And
That I feel
That's
like
not
I don't.
right.
That
So-
didn't seem like due process to me. And
It
then with a lot
wasn't.
of these guys, some of them just accept it because they realize that they did do something wrong.
something wrong.
But if you don't feel like you did anything wrong, you should at least have the opportunity to present your case and speak up for yourself
And even
instead
if
of
you
just
did
being
do something wrong, depending on what it was, should you lose your job?
well, like you said, it depends on what it was.
Now rape, that's a whole nother story. Again, I've
Right.
always said that, but even though
And assault
that Judge
is,
Moore, I hate to put any kind of defense on what this man did, but what he did wasn't illegal in the state he did it in. At the time he did it, he could talk to a 16-year-old girl. He could date a 16-year-old girl. It was legal in the state of Alabama, as long as he had their parents' permission, which is why he always said, I never went out with a girl without getting her parents' permission. So what he did technically at the time was legal, no matter how disgusting we think it is, no matter how disgusting.
It's how disgusting we know it is. It's not
Okay.
go
Well,
ahead.
again, back at 100 years ago when you were 13, you got sold off and you got married.
Not to a 45-year-old.
Not to a 20-year-old. You sold off and you got married. Even in this country, it was legal. Just now, don't get me wrong. Just because it was legal, don't make it right. That happens still to this day in other countries where young girls get sold into marriage. I say that because you give it. That's what the whole dowry
yeah.
is and all of that. So, but yeah, that still happens to this day. So, no matter what, at the time he did it, it was legal. It's disgusting. What kind of pervertish crap you get out of messing with a little kid is just beyond belief to me and disturbing. But
If it was
legal.
legal, I don't think they would have banned him from the malls.
they didn't ban him from the malls. They were told to look out for him at the malls. But it was legal in the state of Alabama. If you were considered okay to date, if you were 16, as long as you had the parents' permission 30 years ago. Go look it up.
But you keep
It was
where do
legal.
you keep getting this 16 from? Where do you getting that age from?
Because that's the law. That was the law.
But you're saying none of the girls were under 16?
From everything I heard,
don't
I
believe.
didn't hear any girl was under 16.
Uh.
I think they were 16 and up. That's why he could not be arrested, because they were 16 and up. Now, if I'm wrong on that, somebody please let me know, because that then would have been illegal. But even now, with everything that came out, you never saw anybody looking into a case or anything because
But even
it
with
was
all these
legal.
other allegations, nobody's really looking into filing charges.
No, right. But I'm just saying with his, I believe they were all 16 and up.
Yeah,
And
I'm just
that-
going to say
and
I still
again,
feel some
it
type of way
doesn't
about
make
your
it
defense
right.
of this guy.
I feel some type of way about my defense too.
Okay.
I got a problem with it. I'm
don't
not
sound
okay
like it.
with it.
You sound
but
okay with
no, I'm not okay with it. But it was the law. That is my issue here. When you go back after somebody for what they did 30 years ago, you got to remember laws were different then. The laws were different. The time was different. Everything was different. You can't look at it from a 2017 point of view. You can't look at certain things that happened in the 90s from a 2017 point of view. Technologies are different. Everything has changed. So you have to keep that in mind, which again is why I say nothing happened to him. Technically what he did wasn't illegal. Now, if one of the girl's parents say, no, we didn't give our permission, then that's illegal. Because you had, at 16, you had to have their parents' permission. But even now in the state of Alabama at 17, it's okay if she's 17 because she's legally an adult at that point. So no matter what, it's still disgusting, but it's the law. So when we're going back that far and we're looking into these cases and these situations, we have to remember we got to look at what the law was on the books at that time. And then we have to also look at where
do you see the disgust in my face?
Do you see the disgust in mine?
I don't hear it in your voice.
It's there. It's like I said, I don't want to defend him. I don't want to defend this man.
You don't have a different example to use?
No.
Okay.
Because that was the big one. The fact that I had to that I could actually
it seemed like
give
you
an
went
offense
to research
to somebody
how you can defend Judge Roy Moore.
No,
that's
what
I
happened.
Feel like.
This is what happened.
Yeah,
I
tell
was
the truth.
watching the story and I was disgusted and I was like, okay, so why is it that nobody is looking into this? And then I turned to another news station and they were telling what the law was back then and how he could get away with it. Because I was getting ready to look it up and I flipped to another news station. I think I flipped to like MSNBC or something, and they were talking about it and they told that it was legal back then for him to do this. And I was just like, really, that's gross. But then I got to thinking, they're here in this country. Look at The Color Purple, for example. She wasn't but 13 when she got married. And that's a movie, but it's a movie that was based on real life events.
No. And do you know I don't know one person that wasn't disgusted.
I didn't say we were No, the disgust is there.
Can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. What kept me here? I just was making a point. My point
you got
was
multiple examples of this defense of child predators. Let's move on.
It's not a defense of child predators.
It's not supposed to be.
It is not at all. It is just simply stating you have to remember what the law was at the time. That's all I'm saying.
Well, just stop and just say that and move on, because you're beating this pedophile horse to me.
Really?
Yes, and I'm just getting more and more disgusted with you. Like you really, I feel like you went and did a term paper. You probably sent it to Roy Moore. Like, hey, this is how you get off.
Do you think I would really give him
this?
Do you really think I would help Roy Moore?
This is how I'm feeling right now.
You got a problem.
I'm ready to cancel.
You got issues.
I'm ready to cancel New Year's on you. But it was a lot going on. A lot of things came to light in 2017 as far as this particular movement. As far as, you know what, we kind of glossed over all the hurricanes, but with so much divisiveness going on in America, which we've pretty much been divisive, but it just felt even worse this year, in my opinion, because of who is in the presidency and his rhetoric and the people that he surrounds himself with and the things that they try and push on other people. It felt worse. And for black people, we know that it's always been there. We know the racism has been there. We know the prejudices have always been there. But this year in particular, it felt worse because people are not only coming out saying, you know what, racism is there. They're saying, some people are saying, I'm okay with it.
That's it.
But then when you see situations like natural disasters, when those were happening, and you see people of all color, all nationalities, all religions coming and saying, you know what, forget everything else. I just want to help my fellow man. I want to be there if you need me. That's what, made me feel good about what's going on, because there are still people out there that remember that despite everything else, I still have my humanity. Not everybody, but there are still enough of us that remember that no matter who you voted for, no matter who you support, no matter what you look like, no matter who you serve, you're still a human being. And I know because of how I was raised that I should care about you.
Well, I mean, not to gloss over the hurricanes. That people are still dealing with, and those hurricanes, people who
especially Puerto
live
Rico
there,
and the
right,
Virgin Islands or whatever.
Victims
We're not
of
even
Harvey,
talking about them, anymore.
Victims of Harvey, people are finding it hard to get their houses rebuilt or fixed, or even get into houses. People for Hurricane Irma, I think it was some people from, I want to say Virginia, that went down. The whole community went down to give Christmas presents to victims of Hurricane Irma in the Keys.
Okay.
It was like one neighbor said, you know what, I'm going to help. And he talked to one person in the Keys and said, how many of you are without? And she told him, and he went to his neighbors door to door and said, this is what I want to do. Who wants to help me? And they took a big old truck of stuff down. Just all the neighbors.
That's awesome.
Worked together, and I thought that was great. And then we've got Puerto Rico, and
still,
half the country still without lights.
It's ridiculous.
Here's the thing. I get it's warm, but the thing that has always been on my mind is when the power goes out and you have nothing. One, when you have nothing, you are subject to be around people who also have nothing. And people who don't have anything start to go into like a predatory mode, and they get to stealing because they have nothing. They got to eat.
And
They've got to feed.
You may have children that you need to feed.
Right.
You have to look out for. It's not just yourself.
Right. It's not just you. So somebody's out there stealing. Somebody who might not have normally been a thief. Somebody who might not have normally hurt anybody to get something. They go into that mode. But then you also got the criminals. It's not like Hurricane Maria came in and took away all the criminals. No, that criminal element is still there. And now that criminal element is sitting on top of an element of need. Now I need to survive in a place where it's completely dark after a certain point.
So there's no, there's security cameras, no defense.
Right. There's no defense. And then you've got women and children and elderly and people who can't defend themselves. So I worry about that. I think about all of those people who are alone and they don't have anything between them and the person who's trying to take what they have.
Right.
And that worries me. So I still worry about those people.
So we still have to keep, all the victims of all the hurricanes in our thoughts and prayers. And if you, not just your thoughts and prayers, if you can do something, if you can donate, if you can, not just money, if you can donate your time, if you can donate supplies, then, do that. Because believe it or not, those people will probably welcome any type of assistance they can get. Because I guarantee you that because we're not seeing on television what's going on, it's even worse than what we thought. Because especially with Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, because we're not seeing them, and it was so much
we didn't even really talk about
because of what happened to Puerto Rico.
Devastation.
It was just as much devastation, and
if not more in some areas.
We don't know.
It's. We going. I mean, some people I'm sure are happy to see 2017 go, and hope that 2018 got something better in it for them. The only thing 2018 got better in it for me, so far that I know of.
You got a baby on the way?
No. November elections.
Oh,
black women. I'm hoping y'all do what y'all did in Alabama. Get to the polls. Maybe we don't need no black men this time.
Did you hear about that character?
What?
Roy Moore? Like he was challenging the results, wanted them to
I
basically
think it was just yesterday.
Yes, the judge came out.
The judge came out yesterday. He's still talking about he's going to contest.
But
it's going to cost him millions of dollars.
They came out and certified Doug Jones as the winner.
They said that they swearing him in January 3rd. I can't wait till January 3rd. Get here. And did you also hear that McConnell,
Mitch?
Oh yeah, he gonna give up on trying to repeal Obamacare now.
Oh really?
Yeah, because he's lost the vote. See, with Jones in, remember,
he taking Sessions' seat.
Yeah, right. He taking little man's seat.
Love, man.
That means that was a Republican seat. So now with him in, a Democrat just took his seat. So now Republicans can only lose one vote. So McConnell said he wasn't going to mess with trying to repeal Obamacare no more. They're going to try to flip the script on a whole bunch of stuff now because the election's coming up. Black women, please go out and vote. Go out and vote. I can't say it enough times. Go out and vote. It is so important. If we can just take back Congress, we can survive the next 2 years of that idiot.
I don't even want to think about it. But, I'm excited because I feel like Democrats have been proving in all these little small special elections that, you know what, we ain't taking this shit no more. And we're doing what we need to do in local elections. So I'm hoping that, excitement continues into November.
The one thing that the Alabama race came out of the Alabama race for me, I saw people were paying attention. People were actually paying attention. And, normally in these local elections, people don't pay attention. Local and state elections.
But they also don't get as much media attention because of their importance.
Too. Right. Right. They don't get as much media attention. But I do remember listening to Steve Harvey's show, his radio show, one morning, and the morning after, and they were talking to Alabama voters. And they were saying, one guy said, I never go out in these elections. I don't even know what's going on half the time. He said, but it just kept sticking in my head that I got to pay attention. I feel like these are important. That's the one thing that this Trump presidency and his candidacy has done, even for me. Because even though I've been voting, that 2016 election campaign, even before it started, like I was actually listening to what they were saying and what was going on, and it made you pay attention. And everybody is talking about it. So you have to not want to pay attention in order to not know what's going on. And then here's the big thing. This 2018, no electoral college. So this is actually going to be popular vote of the people. There is no such thing as an electoral college in any vote except the presidency.
So the people vote.
The people are going to vote these people in. So, hey, you ain't got nobody but yourself to blame if somebody gets in that you don't want and you didn't vote.
Right.
If you voted, then you can't really blame yourself.
You did your part, and that we thank you for that.
But other than that, hey, get up, get out, help somebody, and vote.
That's all I have.
That's all I got. So I guess that's all we got for until next year.
We would love to wish each and every one of you guys a happy new year. You guys stay safe. Don't do anything that Novelty. I'm not going to say what Mike B wouldn't do because don't do anything that Novelty wouldn't do.
No, I wouldn't tell you to do that because it's not much Novelty does. So
exactly.
I don't drink. Right. I don't smoke. So if you drink and you smoke,
don't do none of that.
How about just be careful?
I guess.
I mean, don't you want the people to have some kind of fun? Y'all always looking at me like I don't
wait
have
a minute.
No fun.
Don't nobody go to church on New Year's Eve and worship with the Lord until midnight and then go home and have a good night's sleep? People don't do that no more.
Don't look at me. I've never done it.
They know about Watch Meet. I'm sure there's a few people out there that know. You know what? Nowadays, a lot of churches of people that I know that go to church still, they have like their little Watch Meet like a couple days before. Or if they have it on New Year's Eve, they get out at like 10 o'clock because people stop coming because they want to be out kicking.
This is the one thing I do ask. Please don't shoot a gun to celebrate. What goes up must come down, and you don't want it to come back down in your own head, let alone in somebody else's.
Right.
So be careful. If you shooting, make sure you got a target and it ain't a person. I'll teach you like my nephew. Never point a gun at anybody. And I always consider it loaded.
Right on.
On that note, we will see you next year.
Adios.